Well, with just 12 days now until the end, such as it is, of the showdown, Clinton v. Trump, the country can certainly expect a barrage of polling to come with general assessments of the race. An ABC News Washington Post survey just out today, in fact, shows this: Hillary Clinton beating Donald Trump by some 6 points, 48 to 42%. Third-party candidates Gary Johnson and Dr. Jill Stein are seen there idling in single digits. Now, that comes after yet another Fox News survey out yesterday found that Clinton was edging Trump by 3 points, 44% to 41%. And these are just two of the really countless examples at this time. So how to make sense of it all? I want to bring in a man who does that for us, if only because he is contractually obligated. CBS News elections director Anthony Salvanto at the big elections board to help us out. So, Anthony, again, all manner of polling now certainly exists. So what, if nothing else, to make of all the samples we're seeing here?
Yeah, good morning, Josh. Look, polls disagree, I always say, because pollsters disagree. And what that means is every pollster has a little bit of a different take on who's actually going to show up, who is actually a likely voter, and what the electorate looks like in terms of how old it is, how young it is, how many Democrats, how many Republicans. So when you get a poll, you want to look at whether it makes sense in those terms, whether it looks like an electorate that you might reasonably see. And some of these big swings are because, some pollsters are saying that a lot of Democrats are going to show up, and others are saying it's going to be, a bigger balance between white voters and African-American voters, etc. That's, I think, more how you make sense of all of this. One thing it all does sort of boil down to, though, Josh, is nobody's really disputing right now Hillary Clinton has a lead in the polls. The argument is mostly around the size of that lead at this point, and most folks agree that Donald Trump still can win. It's just that Clinton is leading.
But to that very essential point, in fact, Donald Trump has never had a sizable national advantage, to be sure. How to make what to make of the disconnect, at least between what we might be seeing nationally as opposed to the 13 battleground states that we are increasingly being told are really the only ones that matter.
Yeah. In order to win, Donald Trump has quite a bit of work to do. There's no question about it. So what it means is he's got to pull in almost all of the undecided, of which there are not that many, frankly, and then he's got to start flipping some states. One of the things we keep looking at is Florida. Let's suppose that goes to him. If I give that to Trump here on the map, and we're going to make sure that thing goes. All right. So he's still got a ways to go. So if you look at where the map stands now, you've still got to see him flip back Ohio. He's got to get North Carolina, where, quite frankly, he is trailing. And if he doesn't get that, let's suppose Clinton wins North Carolina, she's going to get a pretty big boost. She's going to be well over 270. So these states in play, he's got to flip that. He's got to flip maybe Pennsylvania, where he's also trailing, in order to get there. That's a hard road ahead. There's no question about it. But if he does turn this around, he's obviously running out of time to do that, Josh.
Now, you mentioned North Carolina. It went with Barack Obama in 2008, although President Obama lost it in 2012. We know that most polls seem to suggest that the state of Ohio remains too close to call here. We spent a lot of time this week talking about Florida because both candidates have been in Florida, but we spent months prior to that talking about the state of Pennsylvania and really the suburbs around Philadelphia. You just mentioned if he flips up Pennsylvania, but if you had to pick one state, what's going to decide it, since we've decided it seems that there are a few that are that one?
Yeah, Pennsylvania looks right now like, so long as it stays in Clinton's camp, and the poll suggests it is, that she could even lose Florida and Ohio and still get there and still get to 270. If he doesn't get that, he's got to go out and get a bigger combination of states in the Midwest. He's got to get, Colorado, where, it looks like Clinton is doing well as also, and then even then he's got to go find another state. Maybe it's a Wisconsin that he can pull off. One thing, though, Josh, is these things are not individual puzzle pieces. They're not individual coin tosses. If you were to see a widespread movement towards Trump, and that's an if, then maybe some of these states would start to move in tandem. But, the other thing, is that we're already seeing votes coming in. We're seeing these early votes coming in. And for example, in Florida, you've got millions of ballots already here, and that's looking like it's pretty much even. And in North Carolina, you do have more registered Democrats than registered Republicans already showing up. So that's one sort of early indicator that we're already starting to see that at the very least this race is even, but at most at least in North Carolina, it may still be advantage Clinton.
Well, both candidates, if nothing else, want you to believe that they still have a lot of work to do, which means, Anthony, you still have a lot of work to do. We appreciate you finding a couple moments for us.
It's all fun, Josh. It's all good.